I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Everyone draws dicks, but how many people draw beautifully detailed vaginas? That is the question we want to know. That and why did no one tell Dr. Psycho to wear a coat? Wait, Shark did. DC's Harley Quinn, Season 2, Episode 4, Thawing Hearts. That's what we're talking right now. And of course, by me, I'm talking us three plus one, as Ryan Nielsen is in the booth. Chauncey K. Robinson, the fifth.
Hey.
In
here.
the building. I don't feel like you were as excited as I was to introduce you.
Oh, okay. I'll try harder.
Okay, Chauncey K. Robinson.
What's that?
Yeah, that was a little ethnic. It was a little too ethnic for my taste. It was a little too ethnic. I feel like you played to a typecast. And of course, all the way down, we have Drake's sister, Tatiana. Mariesa is in the building.
You know, I'm rolling in it, so that's what happens.
Yeah, I don't need you to be so gangster. Like, there's no need. But whatever you did right now, there's no need. Hopefully, the only person who gives a normal introduction will be Ryan Nielsen. Ryan, how are you, sir?
Oh my gosh, guys. One of the best panels.
Thank you, Ryan. So we're going to get to, I didn't even like how he was too excited, you know? Throw in a little urban, throw in a little ethnic.
Yo, this panel, man.
Okay, all right. I just feel like, I don't have proof, but I feel like that was a bit too much racist. Let's talk about DC's Harley Quinn, Season 2, Episode 4, Thawing Hearts. My name is Tehran. I'll be hosting and paneling on this panel. Of course, if you don't know me, you don't know DC's Harley Quinn. We're going to break down this episode as thus. First, we're going to have to talk about Sandra. I feel like Sandra and Clayface gets their own concept. Condiment King. We meet Kiteman's nemesis. Of course, those are all secondary storylines as we get to Mr. Freeze, which is the crutch of the entire episode. Harley is the perfect subject. True love, Nora, Ivy to the rescue. We get some news and gossip. We have our How Harley Are You moment, the Harley scene that reminds you of you. And we're going to try predictions, but of course, this is so out of the world and out of the box. We will do our best. Usually we have none. What were your overall thoughts on this week's episode, DC's Harley Quinn Season 2, Episode 4, Thawing Hearts?
I thought this episode was way better than the last episode because I was so excited to see what Mr. Freeze's story was going to be. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. And of course, there was so much love going around.
The most woke ice villain of all time.
Yes.
Seriously,
Chauncey.
Well, I enjoyed this episode. I think it was more like a setup for like plot lines that's going to probably come later on. I still love the Catwoman episode. I'm still high on that, but I thought
loved it.
Yeah, I thought this was a solid episode, and I definitely was curious what they were going to do with Dr. Freeze, you know, how they were going to play that plot line, because he's not an out and out villain usually. So I was satisfied with where they took it.
I really liked the Catwoman episode. I thought this was different, and therefore it was also enjoyable, but very different. Catwoman is by far my favorite character that I've seen thus far. Catwoman I will never forget. It's not like you're always stealing jewelry. I'm always stealing jewelry.
You're just amazing.
Like, I'll just never forget that in my life. However, in the concept of Mr. Freeze, just how wrong Harley was, how jaded she is by true love, getting those tidbits of Joker. And the one thing I'm really curious as what they're going to do is how are they killing off all these major villains? And even though you try to convince me that Penguin was a secondary villain, they're killing off major villain back to back. Sure, Trapdoor or whatever the guy's name was. We don't care about him. But this is Mr. Freeze. And it looks like he's dead as far as we can tell, like at this point. So it's just one of those things where it's, what are we leading to? What are we going to get in the episode Season 3? That's why I say predictions are so difficult. So I really liked it. Of course, it's one of the most enjoyable, very well written. And I think we need to discuss this. It's something we haven't really talked about throughout our episodes. Why don't they get the cartoon writers to write their movies?
I know.
Who wrote
Seriously.
Birds of Prey? No offense, but Birds of Prey compared to the Harley Quinn cartoon is horrible. It's horrendous.
I agree with that. I think it's different. And I actually rewatched it last night, the Birds of Prey movie. And I mean, the second time around you catch more stuff. I think it has the same spirit, but you also have to realize they had to fit it into an already not so great DC cinematic universe of live action.
How did Birds of Prey play anything into the universe
there
that
were
DC?
A lot of callbacks, just like the grittiness of it. You know, they had to play in Suicide Squad. She had to be the same Harley from Suicide Squad. They kind of had that same kind of world. And with this cartoon, it was kind of like, it wasn't from anything. I mean, there was a parody and plays and satire off of other stuff, but they got to create their whole new thing from scratch. And you had to, like with the movie, they had to play into it a little bit differently. So I think they had more restriction.
Tatiana,
I actually liked, I still like the characterization of.
Did you like Birds of Prey, Chauncey?
I did. I enjoyed it.
What did you give it on Rotten Tomatoes? Since you're a Rotten Tomato.
There you go. That's the question.
Rotten Tomato, what percentage would you give it?
I gave it.
Because it sounds like you give it like 100%.
I gave it, I think, either a B+ or an A. I didn't give it an A+, but it was like a B+ or an A.
Let's give it a grade. Let's give it a grade.
I did give it a grade.
No. Like, let's give it a percentage.
Did it pass?
Percentage? I think it was, it passed. It was like an 85%. It was 85%. There were shortcomings.
Okay. Tatiana, did you watch Birds of Prey?
Yeah, I watched Birds of Prey, but I wasn't as big of a fan of it. I thought that they could have done way more with it.
Way more.
Yeah, and they had the opportunity to. I understand that they had to play within certain lines, certain boundaries, but I still feel like they had so much freedom to do a lot of things and they just missed the mark on so much.
Missed the mark on so much. And I'm going to have to agree with Tatiana here now. While I'm not a Rotten Tomatoes certified critic.
Me neither.
So neither of it matters.
I would like to say that while you say neither of it matters, technically speaking, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. The numbers show that people overwhelmingly, however they wanted to package it, however they wanted to twist it, however they wanted to say because Harley Quinn's name wasn't on it, even though her face was all over the place, maybe they didn't know that this was the Harley Quinn movie. Sure, the fantabulous edification and of the ramifications of Harley. Sure, whatever it's called. When Christina Hodson wrote Birds of Prey, I'm sure that her first draft was vastly different, and it feels like she turned in something for DC. This cartoon is so well written, so on the mark, so much more Harley Quinn than the movie is. Now, maybe you watched it a second time, which the fact that it took you 2 times to begin with.
No, I liked it the first time. I enjoyed it
with the quarantine coffee. Maybe you had a quarantine coffee.
It did pass its numbers though. It finally caught up during the quarantine now, like that people are like renting it and things like that. It has, I mean, I just think marketing was we can like shade it, but marketing was a big thing with it. And you also have to realize, if we're talking about the cartoon, we just talked about it. They killed off Penguin. They killed off Dr. Freeze. They're playing on so much stuff that they can just do whatever they want, that they're able to push the envelope a bit more. You can't really do that,
I just feel like they really dropped the ball. I feel like they also, I don't feel like they had a strong African-centered character. I'm sure my little childhood crush, Jussie Smollett's sister, journey was great, but I just didn't like Birds of Prey, and I'm loving Harley Quinn. And Birds of Prey
I love them both.
Could have turned me off. Yeah. You have such a big heart. We're going to talk about true love when we get to that. I agree with Tatiana where I feel like it missed the mark, and I'm not a fan of the gimmicks of like using a narrator and the narrator just pointing to things and things of that nature, when you could have had a very serious, very strong movie about Harley Quinn. And I understand that Harley Quinn is tied to the Joker, but I've never understood why. At this point, we keep going back to that. That's why. And I like how Harley Quinn, the cartoon, does not do that. Where do we find this out? Because Harley Quinn is the perfect subject. Mr. Freeze. Let's talk Mr. Freeze.
I love Mr. Freeze. Like I'm on his team. I don't think he should be considered a bad guy at all. I don't know how he got in with that crowd. I know they're probably funding, obviously.
That's how he funds it, with a criminal enterprise.
Yeah, but it's like, it really gives him like a human turn. You're like, oh, especially seeing the love that he has between him and his wife when, she's unfrozen and is dying. It really made me feel for the guy.
Well,
it was actually, it was like a stringed, like it pulled the heartstrings this episode. on a multi-level. I thought so. On like multi. You're like, not really. No, it totally did. I mean, his wife is dying. He's dying. His wife is dying. I was like, am I gonna tear up or is it just me?
Yeah.
Just me.
Maybe just you. You knew what they were trying to get at with it for sure, especially even playing on Harley's income, her I don't want to be committed ever again, blah blah blah. But I don't know, he's always been a tragic character, and they actually have a movie about him with that was, I felt, maybe just because it was a more serious cartoon movie with Batman, that I felt that a bit more. Even in that movie, at the end of that, he does seem to sacrifice himself.
Yeah, when he's Arnold Schwarzenegger,
yeah.
it's very good.
No,
not that one. Let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about that one.
The DC animated movie.
No, I know exactly.
Yeah, and I just thought that was more tragic. I don't know. I just felt like this. It was kind of like what was being said. It's like it was a different episode, and I felt for him. For sure. And I definitely feel like, I don't know, Harley Quinn, I go back and forth. 1 minute I'm feeling her, the next minute she just annoys the crap out of me. And she annoyed me this episode again. She was
like super on her, like, for women high, like screw love. Yeah. That's not love. He's control. Like, and I can get where she's coming from. Like, I understand because of the relationship she came out of. So now she's going to try to save all women, especially the ones that are frozen. So it's I get where she's coming from, but it's definitely she was on a trip.
Yeah, like all men are bad, kind of.
Yeah,
she sounds like Chauncey. It was crazy.
Actually, very much the opposite of me.
The whole concept is what
I just don't like you.
Oh,
there it is, bomb drop.
Fired. Why, Chauncey? Why? If I had my freeze gun, a freeze gun, you would be done for. That is the realest those thing. What were your thoughts on Harley as the perfect subject for such a good guy? He did take the worst approach. I'm sure those rats didn't.
I felt for him.
Didn't think that he was a great guy.
You felt for the mice?
Yeah. And it was just like, he was so like hell bent on it, right? It was just kind of like, I'm 98% sure that it's a 2% difference. Like, he just killed all these mice and that's his main thing about it. And I'm just like, man, those poor mice. And the mice were even saying they were saved.
Yeah.
The
mice were like, oh,
they're hugging each other.
They're like, oh, but I got to do a human. And they're like, we're saved.
It was so sad.
It was hilarious.
But wouldn't you go to like the nth degree to figure out a cure for your significant other?
Tatiana, we're not all married. I just want to throw that out there.
You don't have to be married.
We didn't cry watching this episode. We're not married. We wouldn't kill we wouldn't kill the whole world for
having kids made me soft. Okay, yes. You guys, I'm soft.
I was more like Clayface. Can we go now? Like, this is kind of awkward. She's been crying. Do we have to stay? This is weird. A lot of emotions.
You mean Sandra or Clayface? Sandra.
Let's just call him Sandra.
Right? Oh my God. I hope to see Sandra again.
Me too.
I need to see Sandra some more.
Sandra is single by choice. So we're going to find out how Sandra does. I'm sure we're building up to the wedding. That's where I am assuming is the big buildup and something.
Which I'm afraid of.
Something very big happening at the wedding, especially since from the news that Chauncey provided last week, we are being teased with a Harley Quinn and Ivy romance of some sort. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. What are your thoughts on true love? The concept of true love, seeing Mr. Freeze being put in this position with Nora. Of course, there was the conversation of true love, the toxicity of the previous relationship. Tatiana said she understood why Harley acted in such a manner. What are your thoughts?
I believe in true love. I do. I think. Wow. You know what? I do. I believe in it, and I think that it is possible. And I thought Miss Dr. Freeze was definitely true love. I actually think Kiteman and Ivy are true love. She even said it, and that's what makes me afraid for Kiteman at this point, because I feel like the only way they're going to be able to do an Ivy and Harley Quinn romance is if they kill Kiteman at this point, because she's in love with this guy, you know?
I still think Kiteman is more in love with Ivy.
Well, that's not a negative. I mean, there's never always always balance.
Yeah, true love. I don't think. Remember the "I believe in true love" statement, Chauncey? This kind of contradicts it.
No, it doesn't actually. Sometimes someone's a little bit more devoted than the other person, but you can still. In love is not a solo thing. It's a room for two. And there can be
true love. It's not just
it's a team.
It's true love.
It's a team.
It's true love.
It's a true love thing. And if Ivy has decided, I really, really love this man, and Kiteman has decided too, I don't think it's more or less. I think it's different. I think Kiteman is more expressive of his love than Ivy, who has been guarded, tends to be. And that doesn't mean that she loves him less. That just means he expresses it more.
I think that Ivy is trying him on. You know, I think she thinks she loves him because he's something different and new that she hasn't experienced before. So I feel like she's trying him on. Like, okay, I love him. Like, I love him. Sure, yeah, let's see how this goes. And she's going to go with it until it doesn't suit her anymore.
It doesn't seem like a relationship of convenience to me. I think Ivy is hot enough to like find a lot of suitors, and she's picked Kiteman. I don't know.
I don't know if hot enough is the only criteria, Chauncey.
No,
leave her alone.
I do think I actually agree with Tatiana that they're probably going to play it where at the end of the day, if someone is in peril like Kiteman and Harley Quinn, that Ivy will probably pick to save Harley Quinn. That's
for sure.
Where this is going.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So I don't see how she could. I don't know. I don't see them being. I don't know if I could see that in love with Ivy and Harley though, and believable. I don't know. I think Harley has to grow a bit more before she can really truly be in love.
Can we all agree that we just loved when Nora was like, I'm so sick. I'm so glad, this look on your face. Because part of us wanted to believe that Harley could be right. And that Nora would wake up and be like, oh, no, not you, Dr. Freeze. And then she was very much in love.
I would have been mad if they did that.
Me too.
It would have just kind of spit in the face of the history that we know of Dr. Freeze. And I wouldn't have liked that. That's why I think that's why I was annoyed with her. I'm like, you know, Miss Dr. Freeze and his wife are like really of the Batman universe.
Yeah, really Harley, don't you read the comics? Don't you read the comics?
In Gotham.
Harley is so like in her own world though. I mean, that's her character. Like that's a characteristic that she owns right now. That is, it's literally, she doesn't see past this. This is what she sees. So it would make sense to me that she didn't see the connection that they had.
Yeah. And I honestly feel with Ivy and Harley Quinn that if Joker comes back somehow and he seems redeemed, I think Harley would go back to him because she really was really devoted to him. And if it seemed like he was just a bit better, I don't know if she would stick with Ivy. And that's why I guess I can't get with that relationship, you know? So,
yeah.
Well, what did you think when we talked relationships? We went to this corn factory, we met Condiment King, and we saw Kiteman wanting to get this venue. What were your thoughts?
I can't stand that guy. I was like, he's my nemesis third. Like, I was like, I do not, like, what is this? Who does he even, like, fight against? Like, who's the heroes that fight?
Kiteman. He fights against Kiteman.
But it's Kiteman and Hero. He was with the League of Doom. So who's the hero? Who's the villain?
I mean, I think Condiment King is he had a superpower, like he squirted the mustard on the tuxedo.
That's not a superpower. Like,
and we didn't even meet his girl. Like I was hoping to meet her, and she
seemed kind of young for him.
I bet you her name was Amanda, and she was like 20.
Oh, right? Always the way.
Yep. Who hurt you, Chauncey?
I know who's gonna be what's more Harley. That's gonna be you with Condiment King.
Yeah. Let's talk about this. Let's play. How Harley are you? What was the scene that displayed your Harleyness, Tatiana?
I thought that when she looked at Dr. Freeze and his wife, and she said, "Oh, that's true love," like she got it right then. Like that's how it's supposed to be displayed.
Yeah, you're right. Kids have made you soft. Chauncey.
Probably with Ivy, you know, coming in, getting Kiteman to come in and stuff, but then, you know, wanting her best friend to be well off too, and saying, "Hey, if I can find something, you can eventually find something too." So, and saving the day
again
with the cure.
Of course, Ivy's always to the rescue. Coming out,
she really is.
Kiteman came back with the right flower after being paralyzed. Mine is going to have to be the corn factor owner, where he says, I wish I knew what true love felt like.
Oh, geez.
Oh, Tehran.
Thanks for picking on me today, Chauncey. It's just,
Wow.
it's the anniversary of the day that I broke up with the girl of my dreams, whatever.
There'll be more.
No, I'm kidding. I've never even broken
That's
up with
what it
anyone.
is.
I've never broken up with anyone. I just like wait until the relationship just is like, I just haven't talked to you in so long that it's just.
He's horrible.
That's terrible.
I didn't really resonate with this episode in that way, but I felt it. Let's get to the news and gossip. Things that make no sense about Harley. CBR.com did an amazing 10 things that made no sense about Harley. They talk about the time she clowned on Trinity. They talk about the mallet. They break down Suicide Squad, break down her as a leader, what happened to her super strength because of how Harley was, her crush on Deadshot, which was always an interesting thing. Let's not forget she slept with Nightwing in the last movie. Her fighting skill, her status in the DC universe, and of course, Joker and Harley, the fan reaction, and then the actual relationship. So they break it down. It's an interesting read. I want you all to check it out. It's on CBR.com. Just came out yesterday. So it is breaking news. It's an amazing part of the experience that is Harley Quinn, as are we, your panel. Where can people find you if you want to be found? Tatiana, Mariesa.
I'm Tatiana Mariesa at Tatiana Mariesa on all social media platforms.
And then Chauncey.
And I'm Chauncey K. Robinson. You can find me on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, I thought we were going to find you on Christian Mingle or OkCupid
Wow.
with all your love. All your love.
How about you?
Ryan Nilsson, where can people find you? If you want to be found?
You can find me on Twitter at Ryan Nilsson.
Thank you, Ryan. And of course, at I am Tehran all across the board. I am Tehran literally. And find me hosting and paneling on a slew of other AfterBuzz after shows because all of your favorite TV shows are my favorite TV shows too. We appreciate all the comments, support, and love. Share the love, spread the word. Just don't spread Corona. Thank you for adhering to quarantine. Flatten the curve. We will see you next week. Bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.